We recently spoke about the hydrostatic measurement of a liquid level inside a pressurized tank. Now that takes us directly into the wet leg and the dry leg measurements that can be taken. I'd like to just expand on that briefly. This is very close to the hypothetical image that we would have used for the pressurized tank level measurement. Now, if you hear somebody talk about a dry leg system, all that it means is that the reference leg that is going down is going to have the same medium as the top of the tank, whether that be a gas or whether that be air, doesn't make a difference at all. It's going to be exactly the same medium, and so that becomes a dry leg. We can maybe go and write that down quickly as a dry leg. On the right hand side, we're going to have the opposite, which will be a wet leg system. And in this case, what you're going to find is that the reference leg will have a liquid medium that is put inside, and it's liquid, and therefore it's going to be a wet leg. Now, in both cases, you can see that the high pressure is at the bottom and the low pressure is at the top. The way that it has been configured is very interesting, because if I am working with a 4 to 20 milliamp signal and that liquid level was to rise, well, then my 4 to 20 milliamp signal is also going to rise. On the very right hand side, you'll see that if that level was to rise, the 4 to 20 milliamp signal is actually going to reduce, because we're getting very close to an equilibrium. So where do we use a dry leg and where do we use a wet leg? The wet leg is often going to get used in an environment where there might be some other type of condensation or vapor that's going to build up, and there's always the risk that that is going to run into the dry leg. So by keeping the leg wet, we don't have the condensation that's going to go in. I personally have had an example of this where we used to work with a vapor, at least with a vacuum inside a tank, and in our case it was better to work with the dry leg, but just to go and remove the condensation each and every day. And that wraps up our discussion on the wet leg and the dry leg. I will see you shortly with another exciting video.